Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Mix Live. My name is Mike Langford. I'm a music producer, recording engineer, and mixer based out of Toronto, Canada. Now on this channel, I live stream some Pro Tools mix sessions for demonstrational purposes and educational purposes, not showing you what you should do, but what you could do. There's lots of different ways to make your music sound great. So let's get started. New song this week. The artist is called Ghostly Beard, which caught my eye when I was scrolling through the artists. Where we get these sessions, there's a site called Cambridge Music Technology. Link below. If you're watching on YouTube, fantastic resource for new mixers, experienced mixers, especially ones that may feel like pigeonholed a little bit into a certain genre. And you want to branch out and mess around with some other genres. Also, recording engineers. If you're a new recording engineer especially, getting your hands on other multi-track recordings to have a look and a listen at how they were recorded. Very, very valuable for your own education. So, moving on. New song this week, Ghostly Beard's Blue. Let's hop into Pro Tools here. All I've done so far, I feel like I timed the background music just so. All I've done so far, I've imported the tracks from Cambridge Music Technology. I've also brought in, there's a preview here, so we'll have a listen through to that. I can make some notes about what I want to do. I do a little bit of listening when I'm kind of figuring out if I want to bring the song and the multi-track onto the show. But I don't listen like too closely about stuff. Oh, I did a little bit with the Bosnian Rainbows thing, but that track's super cool. But as far as these ones, kind of a quick listen through, figure out if there's things that I want to work on, if there's things that are challenging, but also, as always, making sure the vocal's something cool that I want to work with, because bad vocals makes for a bad time when it comes to mixing. So I brought in the preview, I brought in the tracks, and I brought in my 1 kilohertz test tone so I can test things on my end. Time for the disclaimer. When I'm EQing, I'm sweeping around frequencies. Be mindful of your own listening levels. That being said, if you're listening on headphones, you're listening on your own studio monitors, or you're listening on your PA system line array you may have in your basement, you know who you are. Be mindful of the levels. Don't want any damage to happen. That's the disclaimer. So let's have a quick check here. 1 kilohertz test tone at minus 18 dBFS in 3, 2, 1. Levels look good on my end, so I can make these inactive. I sometimes call out the key commands I'm using. Because again, we're trying to learn how to use Pro Tools a little bit. I can just right click on those and those disappear. So Patterson's here. Let's go on Patterson. See Patterson in the chat. I'm just going to have a listen through to this song. It's labeled as, I think, emotive prog-pop. This is kind of a jazzy tune. There's kind of a jazzy indie rock vibe to it. I'll say what I was feeling after the fact, but for now, let's just have a quick listen through. I'm going to also mute my microphone, so I'm not talking over it, because for anyone that's been here, this is episode 6, part 1. For anyone that's been here, I have a problem of talking over songs when they're playing. So just going to hit solo here. I'm actually going to bring the volume down a little bit because I don't know how loud this is going to be. And yeah, this is Blue by Ghostly Beard.
Dress and lavender hair, a coral carpet in LA, shades of green, a purple chair. She wants more colors everywhere, dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. You could say she floats around all day, living a fantasy world, bright as light and soft as a feather. embracing life like there's no other. Silly jokes running around. She wants more treasures to be found. Dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I see her in blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. Flat heel shoes made for dancing. Spotlight, sunlight, angel's wings. Hide and seek and skipping stones. She wants me singing on the phone. Dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You would find a writing secret place, acting a fantasy world. I'm wrapped around a little finger. Summer warming, a cold winter. A ray of sunshine, my melted heart. I wonder how she's doing that. Dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You could hear her singing every day. Me, I see her in blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. Little girl's blue.
So that is Blue by Ghostly Beard. I could say that band name Ghostly Beard all day or all evening. I think it's awesome. I love it. Patterson's asking where the new metal is. It's eventually. There's lots of different genres out there. There's lots of things that, again, there's just things that I think are interesting, so I want to work on that. I work on, for anyone that's not familiar, I've worked on my share of metal and children's music. So I try to find other things that I can mess around and work with. So I made my notes. I did my best to be able to make readable notes for the future. So one thing I'm getting a lot of from the preview here, and again, I don't know if it's like a rough mix or if it's the mix or what's going on, but just the delays, the way they're using the delays. I like the depth of this song quite a bit, the way they're using the delays to roll back. But there's a couple things that I think we can do with the delays, but also a reverb. And I half joked on here, like the reverb to end all reverbs. Like I think there's a really long reverb tail that we can use especially for our drums and some of the guitar work. Speaking of the guitar work really reminds me of some of the more chilled out Radiohead stuff. So I'm curious to listen to the guitar track to see what we have to work with. Speaking of guitars, the bigger guitars, that being that upright bass that is there. I'm always interested in upright basses, cellos, violins. Some of these stringed instruments, how they're recorded, because sometimes they can be a bit of a nightmare to work with, and other times you just put the fader up and it sounds awesome. But when we're talking about that upright bass and the style of the song, one of the things I was taught / picked up / figured out, when it comes to that first octave, when it comes to the lower frequencies, those subs, that 20 to 40 hertz range, that 40 to 80 hertz range, and people at home that know that I have NS10s are laughing right now because you can't hear what's happening down there. No, I cannot hear very well what's happening down there, but there's a vibe and the feel of when the low end's kind of together enough. So anyways, that upright bass, there's some low frequencies we usually can get from that, but also there's that really boofy kick drum in this song as well. And I feel like, what I was going to say is, one of the things I picked up is those low frequency sub range. One instrument kind of gets that between the bass or the kind of tonal instrument, whatever has that lower frequency, be it bass or sub synth or something, and then kick drum. Does the kick drum get those sub frequencies? Does that boofiness of that kick get it? Or do we move that kick up a little bit and get more of the attack from it and let the bass go on the bottom? Or do we bring the bass up a little bit and let the bass drum have those lower frequencies? So that's another thing we can work with, be a little bit challenging. And then last but not least, the vocal. I love the vocal performance on here. There's lots of stuff I think is great about it. Would I prep it? Prep for me is tuning and timing. I would dust over it with Melodyne. I think there's a couple things that I would grab, but again, the vibe of the vocal, for anyone that's tracking, the vibe of the vocal is important, but that doesn't mean, in my opinion, we can't prep it. We can't kind of dust over it with tuning and timing a little bit just to make it a little bit, better. Not saying it wasn't good to begin with, but just make it a little bit better. One of my mentors half jokingly would say better is better, and I agree. It's one of those things. If you make something a little bit better, that's good. That being said, you don't want to overcook it. But again, we don't have a plugin yet, at least one that I know of, that will put more vibe and emotion into a vocal performance. Again, the technical stuff, tuning and timing, we can dust over that, and that's fine. So those are my notes. There's not too many. It's more just trying to keep the vibe here. Last thing, too, on my notes, now that I'm reading it, because I can read it, just dynamics between the sections. I feel like there's only 2 choruses. Just looking at the drums here, I think there's a chorus here, and there's a chorus on the outro over here. So I feel like there's a little bit more. I'm just curious, actually. I'm going to bring this back to kind of where the beginning is. The preview is not lined up, but I just want to see the time on this. That's about 2 minutes, and that's about 2 minutes. So I guess the way, just looking at it, maybe the arrangement of the song is kind of the same thing twice. So we shall see. Patterson's asking why so far down, because Patterson was asking about nu metal. I'll get to some nu metal later. As of right now, it's taking me. So we're usually doing like 2, 3, 4 parts per episode, and there's a whole bunch of songs I want to get through, and not a lot of them are metal right now, but there's a couple that have caught my ear, and they're in the hopper / they're on the shelf right now as far as I'm gonna bring those up. So we'll get there. Don't worry, Patterson. We'll get there. We'll get you some metal. He's asking when. Before winter? I'm in Canada. It's always winter. Unless it's like winter, spring, or winter, summer, or winter, fall. There's a lot of slashy seasons here. All right, so first thing we need to do, save as, because we just have our main session up here. We're going to call this Mix Prep 1, because there may be several of these. What I want to do as well is figure out, actually, let's not go too far ahead here. First thing, let's get some of our subgroups set up, just so we can start organizing here. I'm going to move my notepad out of the way. Okay, so we have drums, we have bass, we have guitars, we have pianos. I see vibes, Rhodes, and toy piano, and we have vocals. So I think we need at least 5 subgroups right now. You can just hit Shift Command N to bring up your new tracks window. We're going to make 5. I'll do this the old-fashioned way. We're going to make a stereo. We're going to make aux tracks. We're not going to name them yet because there's a whole bunch here. I build my sessions from the bottom up. So I do drums and then bass and guitars. It doesn't matter. I've not seen it that it makes a difference sonically which way you're building your sessions up. So there's drums master, bass master. We have guitar master. And we had our keys master. And we had our box master. I also use these subgroups as a way of kind of separating things, because I don't color code everything. Some of the students, they love to color code everything. It's like it's really, I don't want to say it's exciting for them, but like they like just kind of customizing that. And I do say, like, whatever DAW you're working in, it's kind of your kitchen. So when you kind of get into the kitchen, you can start messing things around a little bit. Oh, what's our bass doing over here? 1 second. That sounds good. I feel like I'm in the room with that upright bass. Patter says, do you have plans of mixing some Fozzy? Fozzy has an extra Z unless there's like there's a cover band, a tribute band. That's just Fozzy. I can't remember who does the Fozzy stuff. Sounds great though. I want to say Benson. I want to say Howard Benson does this stuff. Or maybe it's one of the Tricos. Not sure. You could probably Google that to see who's doing this stuff. We got a new record coming out. Okay, we can just go ahead and move these into the subgroups here. So I'm going to hold shift. I'll select all that. This looks like all drums to me. Yeah, it's overheads, drums room 1, drums room 2. Okay, that's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's already counted up there. 11, 12. Why was the bass? Oh, bass was 11 as well. Okay, I got it now. So we have all these selected. To change the output of all these very painlessly and easily, hold shift and option if you're using a Mac, and then we can select. My drums go at bus 1 and 2. I don't name my buses. I have a session for school I'm working on right now where I've named my buses, and it's already bothering me. Just full disclosure, it's already bugging me. My bass, I put that at 5 and 6. If you're wondering why I put them at 5 and 6, I put my guitars out 3 and 4. If you're wondering why I put my guitars at 3 and 4, when I'm tracking, I track my guitars before bass, because it's a lot easier to change stuff on guitars and then fix the bass after than it is the other way around. My keyboards and stuff, let's put those at 17, 18. That sounds good. Don't need to remember too much of this. 9, 10, 11, 12 is why I put my effects out. And then vocals, we can put that out bus 7 and 8. Now, because we're subgroups here, make these solos safe, so they're always soloed. Hold command, hit S. Hold command, hit S. Command S. Because if you're curious, if it's not in solo safe and we solo something within that subgroup, it's not going to come up. So that's why I put those in solo safe. Other thing we're going to do too is I'm going to go click the kit here, make a group here, and we're going to make this tracking. Actually, let's call this all drums. We can commit to this. And then we don't need to make one for bass. We'll make one for guitars here. Just hit Command G if you want to make a group of whatever's selected. This comes in really, really handy when we're rebalancing things, which I highly recommend getting in the habit of doing. It can work wonders. You think things are good, and then you're like, I should just rebalance this. Okay, next we want to do, I'm going to add in our master output here. So 1 stereo master fader. So now this is all heading out there. We don't need to listen to our preview right now, but I'm just going to hit mute on that for a second. To resize all our tracks, if you go to the bottom of the track, well, they're all grouped, so they're going to do a lot of the work for you right now. But if you just highlight everything and hold Option and click everything, you can resize all those tracks at the same time. What I wanted to do is I want to get a tempo, see if we can get a tempo for this. So let's just have a listen. These are just faders up. I haven't done anything, so I'm curious what this is going to sound like. It could be chaos. Oh, because I need to put, there's my guitars. Okay, got it. I got ahead of myself there. Just do a little bit of balancing while we're here. Oh, wow. That's a clean vocal.
A coral carpet in LA.
I'm just curious. I'm going to look at that for a second.
Shades of green, a purple chair.
Because there's some weird stuff happening with some of the S's.
She wants more colors everywhere. Dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You could say she floats around all day, living a fantasy.
That sounds pretty good. That is a well-recorded vocal. Okay, let's see if we can find the tempo here before we move anything out. I don't like having my session start right at the beginning. It gives me anxiety, but also in case we have any loops, samples, or anything, we can put that stuff at the beginning. So let's get some drums in here.
Scarlet dress and lavender.
So we can start here. How I'm magnifying the waveforms, if you hold Shift Option and then close bracket makes them bigger, open bracket makes them smaller. I have tab to transient on. I don't know if it's going to do too much right now. I just want to go to the beginning of this kick drum here, and I'll hit B to break that.
Scarlet
2,
dress
2,
and lavender hair.
2, 3.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
So let's see if we can get a tempo off of that. Put another little break in behind there.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
So that should be 4 bars. So what we're going to do is go up to Event, Identify Beat. I go to the next bar up, so that's 9 something something. So we'll make that 10. Oh, I always do that. I always hit the button. We're going to make that 10. And then we went 4 bars, so we're going to make that 14, see what it tells us. Says 140.006. So that's sounding like 140 is probably our tempo. So what we're going to do, I'm going to hit all here. And I'm going to take it out of. Everyone just don't freak out for a second about what's going to happen here. So I just went to the where we had that first break there. So we know that's a downbeat that works. I'm going to hit the delete button. All of that's gone, and go back to the beginning. And I'm going to change our tempo, a little tempo button up here. Change it to 140. And then what I'm going to do is grab the grabber tool, put it in grid mode, put our grid on quarter notes. That sounds sensible. And I'll just pull this over a little bit. I usually start around bar 11. So now we've moved that over. Let's have a look.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Coral cup.
Okay. So me as a drummer is confused why the tempo's not working out the way I want to. What we're going to do, I'm going to add another track on here. So we'll just put the click on. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted to do. We'll just make an auxiliary. Doesn't need to be stereo. Let's put a click on here because I just want to make sure this is doing what I wanted it to do. I feel like there's something going on here. So I know that's wrong. So what we're going to do is we'll try this one more time with sorting out what our tempo is. You can turn off this by hitting 7 on the number pad.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
2, 3.
Coral carpet. Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Someone at home right now is just like, it's because it's in 3/4. That's the problem. And I'm like, I think you're right. So let's force this to 12 just so we have it. And then we'll force that to 16, and then we'll put that signature at 3/4.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
There's also this way. Carmen says, sounds slower than, no, definitely slower than 140. But I know that's in 3/4. But sometimes it just gets a little bit funky. Sometimes you got to do it the old-fashioned way, just to get what we need here.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Coral carpet in LA. Shades of green, a purple chair. She won't smoke up.
All right, thinking 104. And we are in 3/4 here. So that could be part of the chaos that was happening there. So let's try 104 here and see what happens.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Coral carpet in LA.
Might be 105. I'm gonna keep messing with this because I can, because it's my show.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Go back to our drums here. It was close. It was pretty close at 104. I feel like the way the song is, it's like, it is. Okay, that's saying 105. This feels like it's the money. Let's do that. Pull us back on grid mode.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
All right, that's feeling pretty good. First try. Okay. We timed the drums. That's good. That's good for me because it means that it's probably in time. All right. Good start. Good start. Okay, so we still have an all here so I can pull these back. And because I like to leave a little bit of a gap here at the beginning, I'm going to put it in relative grid mode. Did that really go all the way? All right, so I'm going to pull that over a little bit further. So it's starting right at bar 11. We'll pull it over. Let's go to bar 20 and pull that back. So that's why we just cut it right where we know there's a definitive beat there. That's a nice little gap at the beginning. That's enough so we can get started. I'll put markers in eventually too. So what we have to blame for the tempo thing is the meter. I just try to bulldoze 4/4 time into anything, even if it's in 3/4. And I was clearly counting it in 3/4. Okay, so we got that done. What I want to do next here is I want to line up our preview that we have. So I'm just going to listen to that. Oh, wow, that bass sounds really different the way that it is in that mix there. It's really clunky, not in a bad way. It just has like extreme levels of clunk. There's a little pickup here. I'm going to just try to eyeball this. This is why I'm not a carpenter. All right, let's have a listen. It's a little phasey, which is good. Okay, looks that not say it looks good, but it sounds good. Where that is. Sounds good there. Okay, I'm gonna make this inactive. I'm gonna leave it up here though, because there's still things that I might want that for. I'm gonna go back to our groups here. I'm going to highlight everything. Just all those tracks there. And I don't know if it even matters, but I'm gonna deselect our subgroups. But what I want to do here is make a group, and I'm gonna call this tracking. Actually, again, all tracking. So that's basically everything that we have right now. So we want to select it. It makes it pretty easy. But what I'm going to do is, and we actually on class on Saturday, prime example, because things shifted with one of the students in their session. And I was saying, if you do this, the thing that I mentioned to do all the time, select everything when you get it, and then shift option, and then make duplicate the playlist. And you see a little 0.1 beside it. So all we're doing is making a duplication of all the playlists that are there, because I like to rename my tracks so they're a little bit shorter. So when I go on to the mix window, I don't see 16 underscore EG 1 2 whatever. Yeah, it's still garbage even without the playlist. So I can change that. Also, if anything shifts or anything goes a little bit sideways, if you go back to a previous playlist, you can see where things shifted, and maybe you just need to go and copy that and then pull that forward. So that's why I do that. So let's start renaming some of these. So let's lead vocals. Let's call that box lead 1. I put .c at the end of my playlist, so that's how I represent the comp. So instead of COMP, I can just say .c. For any tuning, timing, prep stuff, I usually put T. For any denoising or any declicking or just kind of technical stuff we're trying to fix up, put Z for that. So whenever I do any of those in order, I'll see C for comp, or T for tuning or timing, Z for any noise correction stuff. And if there's any problems, I can always go back in time, because sometimes you hear things later on, or the artist says, oh, I like the original vocals better. You can just pop back to a previous version and then put that in and call it a day. Okay, so vocals lead 1. We have background vocals. We'll call this vocals BG1. We'll make that BG2. Next we have the vibes. I don't know what those are, so we'll just leave them as vibes.c. That's the Rhodes, probably Fender Rhodes. And toy piano. Curious to hear that one. Call that .c. Guitar master. So I just call it, that's guitar A1, A2, and guitar 2. So we'll call this guitar A1. We'll call this A2, and we'll call this guitar. I know it says guitar 2, so we'll just call it just guitar 2. And their bass, our bass can just be .c, and then drums. This is where it can get fun. Kick in, kick out. Really well labeled stuff. Okay, kick sub. So someone's telling me that this artist really wanted the low end to be with that kick drum. That says snare up, so that's snare top. Snare up 2. I got freaked out there. Snare top 2. We'll call it snare top 1. Snare bottom. Do we have 2 snare bottom? No, we don't. Let's call that tom 1. I usually call it T1, but I'm liking the tracking naming convention so far on this one. Third tom. Now I'm not sure anymore. We don't, the perfect amount of tom. Oh, fourth tom. The perfect amount of toms is 2. Didn't hear that from me, but I heard that from Steve Albini. And I agree. There's a lot of things I might not agree with Steve Albini. in his productions. But we definitely agree. The perfect amount of toms is 2. Room 1. Room 2. Okay, I'm just trying to make these a little bit smaller so we can see what's going on with the tracking. Okay, so we have all that stuff named. And again, so do we want to go back in time? We can just flip back really easy with our playlist here. I'm going to listen to our overheads because I want to know if it's low and high. I want to know if it's like where the hi-hat and the ride is, because are we player perspective or are we audience perspective? For player perspective, we're on the drums. If it's audience perspective, we're watching the drums. So it's going to solo and go back and get rid of all tracking group here. And we'll just listen to the drums. Specifically, we'll just listen to the overheads. Okay, hi-hat is on the left. So I'm on the drums. So what I'm going to do is do this and say hats. Ride. We could probably make that smaller, but that's fine. Same thing here. We could also put this information in the comments if we wanted to make this a little bit shorter here. Can we put the comments down there and that's all down there? Oh, wow, that's really wonky sounding. I don't like stereo rooms that much because I find they usually pull really like a lot in weird ways. Because the way that we listen to drums when we're mixing versus the way drums actually happen in the room, when you put microphones in the room and it tells you the truth about where things are actually positioned, like the rack tom's usually pretty close to the middle, but we mix it like way off to the side. Yeah, this doesn't even make any sense. Just for fun, I'm just gonna put some question marks down there. Because everything's kind of in the middle, but the kick drum feels like it's off to the right for me. So that sounds wrong, but whatever. I don't think we'll need all of that. Click's still holding up. 105. Again, I just had a feeling when we started this. It sounded like a 105 tempo, BPM, beats per minute. But it's just 3 beats per bar. Okay, so where do I want to go next here? I want to listen again and throw some markers in because I one of the things I feel like the song kind of just goes, and I feel like there's some dynamics we can kind of pull out of this song, either through automation or either through some underdubbing, which is muting. I talk to the students. One of the things I try to tell them is sometimes the band doesn't get the dynamics done. Sometimes they do, and then you just have to stay out of the way because the instrumentation and the musicianship kind of does the dynamics for you. But I feel like when we go to the chorus, like it doesn't open up or it doesn't kind of bloom or blossom, but also like we don't have that tension kind of going into. There's a couple of things that we can probably do, just subtle things, but I'm gonna listen through, put some markers in just to get an idea of what's going on with the song, and then maybe we'll get into some EQing and stuff because we're moving along as I'm talking. So I'm just going to put this in here. So start to easy way to put markers in Pro Tools on your number pad. Just hit enter, or you can hit the button up here on markers. If you don't see that, hit this, and this gives you all those different viewing options that are there. That being said, if you're working on a laptop, highly recommend spend a couple dollars on a external number pad, a USB based number pad. There's a lot of little buttons and commands and stuff that it's really helpful to have all that stuff there. So, all right, I'm just going to listen through. Put some markers in. I'm going to put the click back in because it felt good. I muted it. Silly. That's our intro. And I'll kind of follow along with our vocals here. First verse. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. It's such a clean vocal. Carpet in LA. Shades of green, a purple chair. She wants more colors everywhere. Then Let's call that the pre-chorus.
Life and none of it really
Should we change our vocal melody?
You could say she floats around all day, living a fantasy world, bright as light and soft and feather.
Okay.
She floats around all day,
Might be like a...
living a fantasy world.
2, 2, 3. I think we're still verse 1, and we'll call that the B1. Verse B1. 1B.
Embracing life like there's no other. Silly jokes running around. She wants more treasures to be found.
So if you go to the pre-chorus.
Dancing away from
Pre-chorus 1B.
and none of it really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I see her in blue
Okay.
all the way. Me, I see her in
Chorus.
blue.
Interesting.
My little girl's blue.
So it should be 12 bars. It's 10 bars. Neat.
My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. Flat heel shoes.
Verse 2.
Dancing.
A. See if we stay with this.
Spotlight, sunlight, angel's wings. Hide and seek and skipping stones. She wants me singing.
Okay,
on
pre-chorus
the
2A.
phone.
Pre-chorus 2.
Away from life and none of it really matters. You would find a writing secret place, acting a fantasy world. I'm wrapped around a
Verse
little finger.
2B.
Summer warming a cold winter. A ray of sunshine, my melted heart. I wonder how she's doing that.
Pre-chorus 2B.
Dancing away
Okay, so far so good.
life and
It makes
none of
sense.
it really matters. You could hear her singing every day. Me, I see
And pre-chorus?
her in blue.
Sorry, chorus 2. With that 10 bars in there again. I like it.
My little girl's blue.
Why have 2 more bars if you don't need them?
My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue.
That's a good delivery. Really intelligible.
My little girl's blue.
I like it. I think it's good.
Little girl's blue.
Alright. 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Out. So we have our out there. What we can do as well, if you're curious, we can go to our click track here. We're just using the like virtual instrument click here. If we switch that off volume onto mute, we can actually mute that. It's going to take that selection there, use our trimmer tool. Where it says not muted, we're going to pull it down to where it says muted. And that way it'll automatically magic. You could also automate and just bypass that as well. But I think that works just as well what we wanted to do there. So, all right. So I'm glad we put those markers in there. I'm just going to make sure that they're exactly where they should be. If you're putting markers in, I highly recommend to use grid mode, when you're using grid mode, it'll snap it to the grid. These were all done using slip mode, so they're a little bit off. And yeah, now we can see when I put that in grid mode. It should all be bar 1, beat 1 of whatever we're doing there. Okay, so we have that stuff in there. I just want to get an idea of the arrangement of the song again, because I feel like it kind of just goes, especially when we get into that first chorus. I think we can pull the dynamics down a little bit, and we can kind of have another little burst of energy once we get into that pre-chorus, and then pull it back again a little bit, because then we get into that second verse B section, get a little push there. So I feel like that's probably where we can get our dynamics, and I might save one of the effects or something, like maybe save one of the delays for the for one of the choruses, or for the choruses, so we can kind of make that where the chorus is happening. Again, you can be creative with this. You don't need to use too many things to make something a bit of an event, or make something kind of special, or be able to shine a light on something. So I'm thinking probably when we get to that chorus, we'll kind of treat that as like a takeoff thing, and we'll add some we'll add a bigger or longer delay in that section, just to kind of add some depth and whatnot. So that sounds pretty good to me. I am biased though. I think that sounds like a good plan for me. I'm gonna go ahead and so we don't really need to do too much like quick faders up listening, because the tracking's pretty good. So what I'm going to do, I'll listen through in headphones, but I'm going to hop out of the headphones in a few minutes to listen. Oh, one more thing I want to do, just because there's still some house cleaning things I want to do, actually, now that I think of it. Oh wow, they've cleaned up all the toms. Okay, I know that the perfect amount of toms is 2, but also the perfect amount of toms are ones that are already cleaned up and manually gated. That's also the perfect amount of toms. So whoever tracked this, fantastic job. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pull this, because there's nothing going on back here. What is that? Oh, hitting the cymbals. Okay, got it. There's little things that gave me anxiety when I'm looking at it. I'm just going to pull this over a little bit. I'm just going to listen to the outro here too. Just fantastic. Well recorded stuff. I just like kind of getting rid of the beginnings and any kind of space that nothing's really happening on these tracks. Also just to hear how it starts and how it ends, in case there's any noise or distortion. Not distortion. Yeah, noise, hiss, hum, all of that kind of stuff. Oh, look at that. Look at those waveforms there. Oh, they're nice and round. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Excellent. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so things like this, because this guitar over here. So we have a stereo guitar. If you want to suspend your groups, Shift Command G. That's how I was able to get out of that fairly easily. So there's a stereo guitar here. What's happening? So there's some effects baked into that, which is totally fine. I think if it's important, just leave the effects on, like print them. It's gonna bring up this volume a little bit, just using clip gain. Sounds pretty good. Yes, I just don't like having all that extra kind of track that I don't need to see. These two guitars. I'm curious if these are different guitars. They don't sound different. Those both have effects on them. Let's try this. Let's try that. We'll figure that out. There's a couple things we can do to add some more soupiness to that because they're a little bit soupy, but they're not soupy enough. Okay, let's listen to the... See, this kind of stuff, again, this is personal preference stuff. I like to just get rid of some of this stuff here. Well, that's clean. I don't feel like that's in time. Nope, it's just kind of doing a thing, which is cool. I believe in that thing having its freedom to do things. Okay, and this section here, I'm just gonna go ahead and get that just because it, you know, we come this far. There's a section down here. What's this toy piano doing? A little bit of reverb on it. Okay, they're kind of playing the delay you're hearing, because that higher one doesn't have the delay on it. Like they are playing that delay into the toy piano. Well done. And that's the Rhodes. Whether that's a Rhodesy Rhodes, I'm not sure, but okay. And then we have our background vocals here. So one of the things we can do is we can just select both of those tracks and then hit Shift A, and that'll select the entire track. We can use a function here. I don't even know where it actually is. It's under Edit, Strip Silence. I just know it is Command U. And you can set kind of the start pad, end pad. I hate when I'm trying to like come up with a name for it, and the name for it's like right there. I don't even need to be that clever. But anyway, strip silence, you can see these little blocks here, these little boxes. If we hit strip, it gets rid of everything on either side. So it's a really easy way to get rid of a lot of the stuff on either side. Again, do you need to do this? You do not. But again, to each their own when it comes to what looks good to them. And as much as I don't think it makes a difference how it sounds, how you feel makes a really big difference in a lot of different things in life. And when I see full like clip tracks and emptiness and nothing, it gives me anxiety. I don't need to see it. I just want it to be all cleaned up. So just go ahead and do this. Also, I'd be watching Walking Dead or X-Files. If there's a hockey game on or something, have that on off to the side. Try to do a lot of this kind of prep stuff that I don't need to listen to in the evening. And do my more critical listening stuff earlier in the day. When I feel like my hearing is better. It's more precise. But also, when you work in the music industry, your mood can fluctuate quite a bit throughout the day. Some of the curveballs that get thrown at you. Same thing here. We can just strip silence that. Someone's laughing about what I just said. They know what's up. Also this vocal here.
Scarlet dress.
Not even like a breath going into that. Like that's tight.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Okay, that's what I was hearing in the preview.
And lavender.
That those S's
and lavender hair.
I have in playback falls insertion mode right now. That's this button up here, which is really annoying. There's a couple times to use it. I thought I was going to. I'm not going to anymore. So
scarlet dress and lavender.
That buzziness of the S could be from Melodyne. It might be how it was sang. There's just something about that was jumping out at me a little bit more on the actual preview, but I don't know. We'll sort that out when we get to that bridge. We will cross it. All right, this is the fun. This is where I wish like I had some I'm unnecessarily editing something music to put on in the background. Or like some montage music or something. Maybe when we hit... What's a good number for this channel? Maybe when we hit 4,000... I was going to say 400, but that's not enough. But we hit 4,000 subscribers on this channel. I'll get some montage music. I'll commission that from somebody. Or maybe I'll put it in the universe that Steel Panther can do the montage music. Or maybe we'll just find one of their songs and see if we can use it. But even better if we did commission official Let's Mix Live unnecessary editing montage music. All right, so this is just me. This looks cleaner to me to kind of see what's happening with, because also too, like, I feel like a lot of feelings today. I feel like when I look at the vocals here in the backgrounds, like this musically makes sense, but also now I can see where those vibes come in and the roads come in, and maybe we can drop that out of a couple sections to help kind of, not to say staircase it in, but like it's a really effective brackets, cheap and easy way of adding dynamics, of just bringing different things in order or muting certain things for certain sections. So now we can see all that. I could see where those harmonies are there as well, a lot easier. Could I see it before? Yeah, kind of. Can I see it better now? Absolutely. I don't need to do it so much on the toms down here because like that's really easy for me to see also. It's not the same as the ones up here. So fantastic job on that though. I'm sorry, I'm just listening to these for a second. My body's like, is this MIDI drums? No, it can't be. It's funny because, like, listening to this recording, there's a couple things I'm like, I'm not sure about it. And there's things about the recording where I'm like, I suck at recording because, like, there's some stuff that's really good in here. I'm curious to know a bit more about it. It sounds fantastic. Okay. We've listened through guitars, fives, vocals, stand-up bass. It goes down pretty low. Like these Bear Dynamic DT990s, you can hear down fairly low with them. Sounds pretty good. Patrick says, what do you say about Spinal Tap? I didn't say anything about Spinal Tap, though that would be good too. I would take a Spinal Tap official unnecessary editing montage music from that camp as well. Okay, we're at 8 o'clock. We're an hour in. Okay, I feel like we're moving along here pretty good. It's almost like I gotta get this done in one day. I'm gonna start listening through. Not outside my headphones yet. There's still a few things I think I can do with headphones on. Because I think the drums sound pretty good. Like I can start hacking them up a little bit with some gonna say, yeah, some like EQ and stuff, but like it sounds really clean. Just gonna pull those down. Let's see what we can get away with here. We'll just, again, I try to use some stock Pro Tools stuff here. So again, it's really hard for me to not say stock digi stuff. If you know, then you know. Let's just, we'll mute our click track there. Let's get a Oh, super basketball-y. People who can tune kick drums, also known as jerks. I'm just joking. If you can get a tone, like a note out of your kick drum, it's pretty awesome. Let's go with this. That's pretty basketball-y. I don't know if we're going to use that. What I like to do with, like if there's a drum kit involved with my meters, actually I should go ahead and do this. If there's a drum kit involved, if you click this button, it'll bring up a fader for your master fader there. And if you hit this red button, that will stay up on top there. I do have analog meters in front of me. I do have VU meters and correlation meter. But I like to keep my peaks around -10 to -6 dBFS. That's how I do stuff. It helps me. These are very conservative recording levels. They know something. They know what's up. So we have that. I'm going to bring up our overhead a little bit. Because I think the overhead, we can lean on that quite a bit. And then our snare top. Well, we have two snare tops. Okay, sometimes with two snare tops, sometimes one of them is dynamic and sometimes the other one is a condenser. Or sometimes too, it can be a large diaphragm condenser and a small diaphragm condenser. So who knows? I think I like the snare top 2 better. So we're just getting a little bit of a bounce here. What's going on with the snare bottom here? That is very quiet. Or as they'd say in Montreal, très quiet. I'm going to bring this up a little bit so we can get that sound of that strainer on the bottom. Sounds pretty good. Just great tones. And we'll just bring up our toms here. Just kind of willy-nilly. We have 4 toms, which in my books, in my book of which I'm still forever writing of things that are necessary and unnecessary, I would put this in the 2nd chapter of things that are unnecessary. So let's just listen to this. Oh, the tuning's so great on these. So we'll just kind of pan these across here. The kids like that. I want to buy these drums. They sound great. One of these drums are for sale. Okay, I know that I'm geeking out a little bit over some of the drums here. Paris is saying willy-nilly, what's that? That's kind of haphazardly, without actual, I don't know the actual definition, but without direction or purpose or end result in mind, willy-nilly. We're just kind of doing it, hope for the best. Just not being specific about it. Okay, so that all looks pretty good. So again, if it looks good, it's probably gonna sound good. Let's just highlight a section here. Oh, we can use our markers actually. Put those in, might as well use them. So we have a bit of a rough mix on our drums here. The headphones, they sound great. So, because it's fun. Don't shy away from presets. They're there for a reason. Kind of get you started. Those rooms sound fantastic. If I wasn't in control of my emotions, I would have said a cuss word there about how great those room sounds are, those room mics are. That sounds pretty good. Again, we don't want to crush those rooms or anything, but I wanted to get the boominess of that kick drum out, because like there's a nice tail on it. Patterson's saying, I'm trying to learn the Canadian language. No, it's E-H. Patterson, Carmen's saying, oh, you mean, yeah. I'm sure, and Patterson has surprised Katie and, or surprised Katie and Donna. They'll be in here eventually, or they'll watch the replay. The replay on YouTube. Okay, so we have our drums here. I can probably put a bit more makeup gain on this. Yeah, I try to keep my peaks -10, -6 dBFS. If it's bugging me, I'll put another compressor on after, just to kind of stop it from doing something. But I kind of want to mess around with EQ a little bit on the actual 2-bus here. Like on our drum subgroup. Because they sound great. I don't want what kind of sorcery is happening. Katie's here. How's it going, Katie? Katie, I just want to inform you. I want you to hear it from me. We're not working on a new metal track today. It's not new metal. Not much going on in the old whistling department here. A little bit. It's subtle what I hear. I'm doing good, Katie. Hope you're doing well. Again, it's subtle. I hear it. If you don't hear it, that's cool too. We're all free to hear what we hear. I'm gonna see if I can do this with this. I don't feel like it's gonna do the thing I want it to do there. Getting your higher frequencies, if you're boosting them with the stock EQ37 band, like it's cool. But I get the better results with the Pultec. It is a Waves plugin, but there's lots of different ones out there with the Pultec. If you want to add, some top end, that's my vote. There was something I was hearing. The thing with some of those frequencies, I know it may seem like I'm sweeping around, but with some of those frequencies, I can hear it kind of whistling or oscillating when I'm listening to it. So once I kind of zero in on it, it's easier for me to grab the EQ and again, narrow Q, and it's kind of snake dance thing there, but kind of sweep around to find what I was hearing. Sounds better to me. I'm just trying to clean up some of the frequencies that are bugging me. That sounds pretty good. I can live with that. I'm probably gonna do this anyways. What is it called? Decapitator. It's a saturation plugin. I'm probably going to end up going for this. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to put that there because I have a feeling it's gonna be living there. So Okay, this upright bass. There's a lot of things I liked about it. This might be a job for this. Yeah, that's sounding pretty good. We're gonna stay in the headphones as long as we can today. I'm just curious what. I'm just using a pretty heavy-handed high-pass filter here. I'm just curious what's actually happening up top there. So even up to 800 hertz, like we're not really getting a lot of tone. It's just kind of clickety-clack stuff. When I said clickety-clack, again, I've worked on my share of children's music. There's a train song where they say clickety-clack in it like the whole time, and now that's an earworm, and now it's stuck in my head. And that's my evening now. Okay, so not a lot going on below 800 hertz. I'm just gonna have a listen the other way here. Wrong button. There we go. It's pretty awesome. Okay. I feel like the upright bass gets... I feel like it gets the subs. I have a feeling he gets the subs. See if there's anything kind of jumping out here. Can hear the room a little bit. Interesting. Someone at home is freaking out again. Like, it didn't even do anything. It did to me. It's like wrestling. It's real to me. So that's the brushes. Sorry, I set my microphone there. Well, you noticed because you're here. But that's the brushes kind of being dragged along the top of the snare drum. Pretty loud. That's why sometimes when you're using brushes and this kind of snare work, condenser microphones can be better choice than dynamic, but maybe that's why they have two, because it might be a dynamic and it might be a condenser. Condenser is going to get a lot more of the high frequency detail because you need a lot of energy to get that dynamic diaphragm microphone moving. So it sounds all right. Staying in the headphones. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. Because I would rather work on my NS10 monitors right now, but I'm going to stay in the headphones. Sometimes it's good to challenge yourself. Unless you really need to win, then don't challenge yourself. Pick something easy. Just flip through this a little bit. Well, that sounds like garbage. want to be able to just pull that back just a little bit. We don't need a 5.3 rate. That's going to bug me. Yep, I'm just ironing out the dynamics as I'm like, this song could use some dynamics. I'll just iron it out. That's fine. I'm going to put this mono so I can actually hear what's going on. I generally EQ out of my left Yamaha NS10 monitor, but I like kind of just listen at a 1 because when you move around it gets a bit weird sometimes, but I don't find the same personal theory and feelings towards listening at a 1 speaker actually applies when I'm using headphones. Kay says no vocals in this song. Oh, there's vocals over here. I just have them. We're just kind of moving through the tracks right now. All right, so a little bit of mud. I'm just gonna do the same thing again. I'm gonna put the low pass filter. Like we don't need a lot of what's happening down there. And my thing, I just kind of bring that filter across, that high pass filter. And again, I'm really aggressive with it. 24 decibels per octave, also known as a 4-pole octave. Or 4-pole filter. It's bringing it over until I kind of hear it do something, and then I back it off a little bit. So just get rid of some of the mud that's here. Actually, I do the same thing with the low pass filter as well. Just bring it over until I hear it do something. Cases would be a good mellow song to listen to with that lyrics. Oh no, definitely the instrumentation's fantastic on this. Just hold option and drag those over. I'm just gonna test something here. Okay, so those are joined because we're in group mode right now. Okay, that's what's fun stuff like that. Excuse me. Where did we leave off? Where was that? Because the thing that's awesome about delay is when you make like a weird noise or hit a wrong note or something, it just reminds you again. Again, that's what it sounds like. That's the stuff that we usually edit out, but it's like pretty buried in there. Again, it's totally fine. It's totally normal. Let's listen to this one over here. Okay, I might be able to get away with just dragging those over too. Sounding all right. 1 second. Sounding all right. Water didn't help, apparently. Let's listen to our vibes over here. So we're into our keyboards. And that vibrato, it is not in time with the song. It's just kind of doing it. It's just kind of doing stuff. I think we can pull those levels up a little bit, but I'll grab them. Let's just go for it. Let's use our, what do we want to use here? Let's use 1176 again. Let's use the LE2A because I never use it and I never feel like I can get it to do anything. Another classic compressor. I'm buying that. I can buy that. I'll turn this down a little bit for people at home. Let's grab ourselves an EQ. We're just using these stock EQ 3.7 bands. I really should make it so like that's the default. Okay, so again, we're not hearing all this stuff down here, but that's still mud that's kind of in our mix. So get rid of that stuff. Higher frequencies, right on lower frequencies. Don't worry how your EQs look. If you're working on a console, you're not worrying about what it looks like. There's not a lot happening up there. Sorry. Cleaned it up quite a bit, in my opinion. All right, let's check out this Rhodes here. Turn off our groups and we'll just drag those over. I like what that does. Not gonna complain. Sometimes it works. So those are kind of adding up to like one keyboard sound in a way. So maybe instead of those both being like stereo, we can make one side center and the other side all the way to whatever side it is. Very technical. One side center, the other side all the way. For setting my levels, sometimes I get asked questions of how do you know how loud to make things? In my mind, when I can still clearly hear the drums, then most of the other stuff is kind of in a good spot. When the drums start to get drowned out, that's when I start having problems with the balance of things. Not saying you should always have the drums up front, but if there's drums, it just adds depth when you can hear the rooms for the drums and depth that's going on there. So for me, vocals, snare drum, and then be able to hear the drums in behind it. All right, let's go to this toy piano here. Let's see what this business is all about here. Okay, so we probably don't need a compressor on this. Because it's pretty percussive and I want to leave that there. But I'm super curious. What's going on in the basement here? Not too much. Just some clunkiness. Oh. That's some nightmare fuel. Jessica is asking, how many drums is too many drums? When we're talking about rack toms, we just need 2. Sometimes 3 if the drummer deserves it. In this case, they have 4, but they're tuned jazzically, so they sound pretty good. And jazzically tuned drums are tuned to notes. Most drums are tuned to like bop and thud. They did a good job with the drums in this one, though. And I hope you're enjoying dinner, Jessica Law. All right, that sounded pretty good. There's a little bit of a reverb that's added on this already. You can kind of filter some of it out, but it's not bugging me. I like the kind of... I had that song, that clickety-clack. I think it's clickety-clack, guess who's coming down the track, and then they like talk about the different parts of the train. It's totally stuck in my head now. I'm just going to bring the level up a little bit using the EQ instead of clip gaining or anything. And I want to be able to hear everything. Katie asked about this song. I think I mentioned there are vocals, and it's very mellow. Speaking of, we're getting to the vocals now. So I don't know if we're gonna get a vocal sound yet. What am I gonna do actually is I'm gonna go ahead and put our main bus compressor on here. What do I want to use? Let's go for our old faithful. Where's our channel strip here? Because I think I gave it a name. Use this for drums. It sounds pretty good. So I just put that on our mix bus here. So what I'm going to do, we'll do a little bit of balancing. Because we have all these subgroups grouped, you can pull this back a little bit. If we're looking at our main output here, I want to try to get this down to like -8. Just our peaks. That looks good. I can buy that. And then we have a little bit going on here. Patterson says, Kate wants something she can bang her head to. It's later. Don't worry about that. There's lots of songs. There's like 1,000 songs on the Cambridge Music Technology site. And it's taking me like 2 weeks of songs. That's like 2,000 weeks. And there's 52 weeks in a year. So when we break that down, that's like a bajillion years. It's like at least like, what's 2,000 divided by 52? Someone in the chat with the calculator that's in our pocket at all times. That when we were younger, like, you're not gonna walk around with a calculator all the time. So we're using the Decapitator. It's a saturation plugin. curious what we could get out of that kick drum. Saturation is just glue sometimes. It just does nifty things. I'm liking that. I think there's some good business in there. Thing about this sub with Decapitator 2 is like I know we added some top end air to it. But we can always do a little bit of EQing. I actually was thinking, just for a quick break for a second here, I was actually thinking if I can mix a song only using Decapitator, because the saturation kind of does its own compression thing. And then with all the different styles of distortion we have, being able to use the tone, I can probably do some EQ shaping using that, and also having the high pass, the low cut and the high cut. That's the high pass and the low pass for me. So like all of those things, I think I could mix a song just using Decapitator. So that might be a thing down the road. I'll make that like a challenge. I'll just only use Decapitator. Maybe we can get it sponsored by Sound Toys when we hit our 4,000 subscribers and we have our unnecessary editing montage and music. So for anyone just joining, I'm just doing some rebalancing here. So I wanted to set our mix bus, our main mix bus compressor. Just doing some silliness right here. 1 second. I love the tone of those drums are fantastic. I can buy that. Might rebalance that later on, but for now, I'm buying it. We're into our vocal sound. I don't know if I'll get a vocal sound tonight. Katie, you're wondering? Carmen's saying there's a rumble with it. Oh, the kick drum?
Dress and lavender hair, coral carpet in shades of green, a purple chair. She wants more colors everywhere, dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You could say she floats around all day, living a fantasy world. Bright as
There's a couple. Oh, we actually are hitting that floor tom. It was jumping out at me. Pro Tools.
Bright as light. Bright as light and soft as a feather.
Carmen's saying, oh yeah, we were talking about the kick drum. Yeah, no, there's a lot of like roundness and warmth and body and tone and stuff, because usually your kick drum is just thud or boof. But you can hear the tone and the notes on the drums. Like I want to keep that. Katie's saying, oh, this is nice. It is. It's a cool texture to the vocal. That being said, this vocal may not be everyone's cup of tea. And if you're a vocalist, that's usually good. Have people have an opinion of your vocals. If you kind of just sound like everybody else, you sound too much like somebody else, it's usually not that great. But having character, having a style. That being said, there's something to with some Canadian vocalists like Geddy Lee or Neil Young or Ray Maida. There's something about some Canadian vocalists that are very, very polarizing. There's something with some of our acts up here where it's very easy to tell some of the vocalists. So I think this artist is from Montreal, so maybe something to do with it. I don't know. Okay, back to our vocals here.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Now, the vocal sounds fantastic, so we'll just go ahead and crush it.
Coral carpet in LA.
I refer to as parking my vocals, or I use usually compressor and a limiter.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Really clean though.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Some people get the peaks out first and then compress after. I think I do a little bit of compression and then stomp it with a limiter after.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Fantastic recording though. I'm geeking out over the recording. Like the other recordings have been good, but there's a lot of little things, little subtle things about this. I'm like, they know what they're doing. So just wanted to hear what was going on upstairs with some of those higher frequencies.
Photo carpet in LA. Shades of green, a purple chair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Staying in the headphones.
Scarlet dress
Dangerous.
and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender. Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
It sounds to me like they used a condenser mic, and I know someone's probably laughing at home right now for me saying that. But I'm saying that because like not all condenser mics are created equal, and I feel like sometimes when people record vocals with a condenser mic, they do it, but it's really harsh in the top end, or it's picking up a bunch of garbage in the room around them, or there's some weird reflections, or just a bunch of stuff that doesn't work out. So Safe, SM7, pretty good for vocals, but you miss a lot of the top end definition. It's great for rock. It's great for metal. It's great for new metal. You know who you are. But as far as like, well, great for pop too and stuff like that. But it's just the top end definition, not always there.
And lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress. Scarlet dress and lavender. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress.
That sounds good to me.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
I just trying to carve out a little stuff that I don't think is going to sit in the mix
and
as well.
lavender hair. Scarlet dress. Scarlet dress and lavender hair. 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 Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
You could probably use Maxim on this actually. Why not? I usually use L1 for my limiting stuff, but let's use Maxim. I'm talking it up. Talking big game with Maxim quite a bit, so.
Scarlet dress and lavender hair. Scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Now we can our S's are definitely deliverance papers right now, so we'll deal with that after. I put my de-esser on my vocal subgroup because usually it just kind of can catch everything, and I don't know, it just seems to work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bring these over to our other vocals that are here. Actually, I didn't even listen to those. Should be fine.
Where
That's a chord. I like it. That is an interesting chord.
She wants more colors everywhere. She wants more colors everywhere.
Those are joined.
She
My
wants
bad.
more colors everywhere. She wants more colors everywhere. She wants more colors everywhere. Dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You could say she floats around all day, living a fantasy world, bright as light and soft as a feather.
Great vocal. EQ. Just gonna throw the Pultec. For adding the top end air, I usually put that on my my vocal subgroup as well.
She wants more colors everywhere. Dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You could say she floats around all day.
I'm gonna get rid of
Living a fantasy world.
the low pass on here. I think we can get it with the Pultec.
Bright as light and soft as a feather. She wants more colors everywhere. She wants more colors everywhere. Dancing away.
I'm gonna make these background vocals a group.
And none of it really matters. She wants more colors everywhere.
And I'm gonna thin those out a little bit. Let's go over here. So I feel like we don't need all of the body that's kind of coming from those. Let's copy that over.
My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue.
Okay, stuff going on. Things I can do in the headphones. We know that we're going to need our effects here. Again, anyone that's new to what we're doing here on Let's Mix Live, I try to not bring over templated stuff from mixes. I try to just build it up as we go. And also, I'm not precious about a lot of this stuff. And I'm not just because I'm just kind of winging it or mixing all willy-nilly right now. Just the idea, there's lots of different EQs and compressors and saturation plugins and modulation plugins and reverbs and delays. There's lots of stuff that's going to work. Sometimes what you have to work with, Pro Tools, sometimes what you have to work with, you just make it work sort of thing. So that's why, like, when you look at, like, I'm just going to go on a bit of a tangent here. When you look at what you have available to you in your plugins world, I use like maybe 7% of what I have access to. But there's, because again, sometimes you buy packages of stuff and you just get tons of things, but I don't overthink some of these things. You just kind of, if something's not doing it, then just grab something else. And I joke about all the time, you know, sometimes you reach for the hammer, sometimes you just turn around the screwdriver if you need to get the nail in there. So it's, don't worry about it too much, but let's get into, let's add our delays and our reverbs. At least get those in here. So we're almost 2 hours into this. Wow. Let's do this old fashioned way. Let's go up to track. Let's go to new. I'm going to put two delay tracks, and I'm going to put one reverb track. Now, I make my effects mono. Reason being, if you do stereo effects, you need 2 buses to run over to them. I don't really subscribe to stereo effects making your song better. I do subscribe to adding reverbs and delays to your song to make your song better. But this way we can have our 2 delays and only use 1 bus for each of those, but we can put a stereo delay on each of those and we can kind of mess around with a little bit. So gonna make those. First one, let's call this delay short, and we'll make this delay long, and we'll make this our main, what, can't spell, reverb. We know we're gonna use 2 reverbs. I already know we're gonna do that. So my conventions here, because again I don't name my buses, I like to live on the edge. Short delay 9, long delay 10, main reverb 11, tie roll. These are auxes, so let's put solo safe. I'm going to hold command and click those S's there. I'm going to Pro Tools. There we go. I'm going to, let's just use, I do like using the stock mod delay 3. And I put a stereo delay on here. And you see that opens up into those. So now we have control over the left and the right side. So if you want to do some neat kind of edge from U2 style, I'm trying to get the hands in the shot here. We can change the delay settings on both, so we can kind of widen it a little bit, or you can have different note durations on either side, which, you know, if people are new to the party, they'll be like, wow, that's fantastic. And you're like, yeah, just a couple buttons away from being able to do that. So that's number 9 there. Let's go ahead and just put our short delay on our vocal here. So we're probably going to have some effects on it. I'll turn that up all the way, because that's just what you do right now. And we'll just drop this anywhere because it doesn't matter.
She wants more treasures to be found.
So we know it's working.
Dancing away through life and
Practicing, when are you going to get into some dubstep? Okay, well, again, new metal was what, 2001? Or I guess the end of new metal was it 1999 at Woodstock? And then dubstep. When was that trend? I saw a few bands die by that sword. It was rough.
she wants more treasures to be found.
So this kind of our slap delay. I like adding a little bit of a tail to it. I'm gonna link these 2 together.
She wants.
Sometimes you pay something.
She wants more treasures to be found. Dancing away through life and none of it really matters. You will see a laughing away.
Because we have this set to sync, we can just have our tempo, and that's going to set all our note durations here.
She wants more treasures to be found.
I'm liking the 8th note. Spoken confidently, with limited music theory knowledge.
She wants more treasures to be found. Dancing away.
Okay, I'm liking that. I can buy that. Let's go over to, so we're going to go to bus 10 now. Just to make this bus inactive, I'm going to just hit, hold control and then hit that send there. When it turns blue, it's in bypass. Let's put another one of these delays on here. And we'll link those together. Let's just go for quarter notes and see what happens.
She wants more treasures to be found.
I feel like quarter notes gonna be the business.
Dancing away through life and none of it really matters.
I think that's gonna be the thing, and we're gonna put that at 30%.
She wants more treasures to be found.
I'm gonna move the groove a little bit that way.
Away through life and none of it really
so that's what I was talking about.
You will see a laughing away.
If you hear the difference, that little bit of groove, it just changes. It just changes the delay time on either side just ever so slightly. And as soon as you do that, it just widens that delay. I don't like the slap delay to have that kind of width on it, but those kind of rolling quarter note delays, I think sounds kind of cool because I want to add that depth and soupiness to this. That's why I'm here. You know, my friends and family joke that I like stoner rock bands, and I think it's the cool use of effects. That's what gets me. So that's what I'm here for with this song. It's like not everything can be nu metal, but you know, I'm here for this. Sorry, not everything can be nu metal or children's music.
She wants
Clickety
more
clacks.
treasures to be found, dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. You will see.
Okay, this delay, I'm gonna put this on pre. Now we're just listening to the delay. I put this on pre, so it's pre-fader for bus 10 here, and then I've muted the vocal. What I want to do is Pro Tools. What I want to do is put some filtering on this delay, because I think we can get a little bit of vibe out of it. Do we have vocals?
She wants more treasures to be found, dancing away through.
Because like that vocal's super full.
It really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I see her in.
And just thinking. This is my thinking face. A little bit of pitchiness in there. Speaking of soupiness, I think we can. This could be way over the top, but whatever.
She wants more treasures to be found, dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I see her in blue.
Just seeing what's available here.
She wants more treasures to be found.
Sometimes you find it, sometimes you don't. This is why unattended mix sessions highly recommended. Because the client will be like, what's going on here? Just trying stuff. There we go. I'm into that.
Life, and none of it really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I see her in blue.
All right, so we have our short delay or long delay. We had a little bit of wiggle sauce via the chorus effect there. Again, just stock Pro Tools stuff. It sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and add some reverb. I was really liking the Illustrious Plates. I've been using Deverb forever amount of years. But this Illustrious Plate stuff, I can't remember which package this comes with. I think it's Slate, but it's awesome. I think it sounds fantastic. I think Valhalla is one of the ones everyone's going to use in these days, but I'll catch up eventually. It'll be 2018 eventually over here. So same thing. I'm just going to bypass our delays there.
She wants more treasures to be found, dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. You will see her laughing
Pretty awesome.
all the way. Me, I see her in blue. My little girl's blue.
Usually I set my reverb off of my snare drum, but we don't have like solid snare hits. So I'm going to mess around with this for a second. Doing a lot of work in the headphones today.
She wants more treasures to be found, dancing away through it really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I
Okay, we're probably way over the top on effects right now, but don't care.
She wants more treasures to be found, dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I see her in blue.
Goes a little sharp there.
My little girl's blue.
And we'll figure out our delay for the chorus. I still think we can come up with another delay for that. Or reverb.
My little girl's blue. She wants more treasures to be found. Dancing
We'll see if we can clean up those guitar things.
It really matters. You will see her laughing all the way. Me, I see her in.
All right, while we're here, because I know I'm going to probably do this anyways. There's reverb on the toms in the rooms. But I feel like, okay, this could be a high-risk maneuver. We're going to go for it. I'm holding shift and option. I'm going to go down to bus 11. Should just put on those 4s. It did. I was only listening to the right ones. I just want to put that silly reverb on those toms.
Dancing dancing
Okay, now we're just kind of doing stuff. It's gonna have a listen through here. I might call it soon. I might stay in the headphones, and then when I come back to this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll have a listen to where we kind of got to.
scarlet dress and lavender hair.
Okay, maybe our reverb.
Carpet in LA.
Maybe our longer delay only comes in the chorus.
Shades of green, a purple chair.
And we make this longer.
She wants more colors everywhere. Dancing away through life, and none of it really matters.
Okay, maybe we open this up.
You could say she floats around all day, living a fantasy world.
I'm vibing on that a little
Bright
bit.
as light and soft as a feather, embracing life like there's no other. Silly jokes running around. She wants more treasures to be found, dancing away through life, and none of it really matters.
I have a kind of a widener
You will see
effect that I kind of made. There's lots of ones you can use, but I kind of have mine.
me. I see her in blue.
We'll get that vocal.
My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. Flat heel shoes made for dancing. and seek and skipping stones. She wants me singing on the phone, dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. But find a writing secret place,
Some mud in the guitar.
acting a fantasy world. I'm wrapped around a little finger, summer warming a cold winter, a ray of sunshine my melted heart. And none of it really matters. You could hear her singing every day. Me, I see her in blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl's blue. My little girl blue.
Okay, so listening through, I'm starting to lose my drums in all of the chaos that's coming with all the effects and stuff like that. So I'm going to do some quick rebalancing here. This is where I have a hotkey made, Shift Command S. If you are using a Mac, go to System Preferences, go to Keyboards, and you can put hotkeys in there. I can try to do that if there's demand for it. I'm going to pull all these down. I'll pull all this stuff down and rebalance. I'm not afraid, except for that one. That one can stay. The drums can stay. I'm going to go to our first pre-chorus here. I want to make sure I don't lose the tone of my drums. So I can still see what our our mixed bus compressor is doing. I can still see what our main output's doing. I try to keep my peaks between -10 and -6 dBFS. But when I pull those faders down, it forces me I have a trackball. Sometimes it needs cleaning. There we go. Much better. Don't worry about how it looks. Just how it sounds. So I'm bringing our pads in instead of our guitars to make sure I can still hear our drums and hear our bass. I think there's a little bit too much boof happening off our drums. It's really easy with the Pultec because you can kind of just use the attenuation and see, I feel like I can hear everything. There's still a little fussing about you're going to do. That's the fussing about hand gesture. But I feel like I was losing the drums before, so I just pulled down everything except for the drums. Keep an eye on our output here.
painting. Spotlight, sunlight, angels' wings. Hide and seek and skipping stones. She wants me singing on the phone, dancing away from life, and none of it really matters. You would find a writing secret place, acting a fantasy world. I'm wrapped around a little finger. Summer warming, a cold winter.
I'll deal with the de-esser next time.
A ray of sunshine, my melted heart. I wonder how she's doing that. Dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. You could hit.
I'm curious what that sounds like on the speakers, but I'm not going to listen today. I'm staying in the headphones today. Because I feel like there's some low-end rumble, but I'm starting to lose perspective a little bit. Patterson, what's a de-esser? De-esser is a sidechain dependent compressor, usually focusing on the higher frequencies, specifically usually sibilants, which is our S sounds, because S sounds can be really annoying for the listener. So we use a de-esser to bring some of those back a little bit. People that have a lot of sibilants, once you notice it, like you can't turn it off. It's one of those things where it's like all you hear is S's. And you're just trying to steer conversation away from S words. Like you don't talk to them on the weekend.
Dancing away through life, and none of it really matters. You could say she floats around all day, living a fantasy world. Bright as light and soft as a feather, embracing life like
Pro
there's
Tools.
no other.
You can just feel it when it's going to start spinning like that.
Silly jokes running around. She wants more treasures to be found. Dancing away through life, and none of it really matters.
We'll try to get that guitar editing thing next time as well.
Laughing all the way. Me, I see her in blue.
And pitch. There's a couple spots. Again, I think overall it's really well done. The vibe, the vocal's awesome. But yeah, it's just a couple spots I think we can get next time. I think we're in a pretty good spot on this tune. I wonder if I can time this. I think we're in a pretty good... No, I should, because I should do the thing. It's me talking to myself. I'm going to finish up here. So we're in mix prep 3, shift command U, shift command B. This gets rid of any unused clips that we're using. Just hit remove. So that way we're not copying that stuff for our backup. As always, back up your stuff. If it only exists in one place, it doesn't exist at all, which means that should the inevitable and unfortunate happen, then you lose all your work. So I highly recommend one on your work drive, one on your backup drive, and if it's super important, put one in the cloud as well. So it's there. So we'll go to File, Save Copy In. All audio files, make sure that's selected. If we don't select that, we just have the blueprints to the house and none of the building materials, which is bad. It's really disappointing when you open that up and you're missing all of the files. And you're going to hit OK and go to our temp backup that we have here. And backup mix 3. That's how, as simple as that. And then hit save. And this goes and copies all the files that we need. Should something happens, because one day it'll happen. It happens to all of us. Happens to the best of us. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to happen that often to the worst of us, but I think we're in a good spot. I know I'm going to make a couple quick notes. For next time. Pattersons, are you building a house? When you're mixing, you're building a house for the ears and for the soul. And if people are dancing, for the feet and legs and hips. I think that's it. Well, that is it for today. I'm trying to keep these closer to 2 hours because I can talk and stretch this out to 3 hours, no problem. But I'm going to try to keep these around 2 hours because I think that's good. That's good for everybody. Yeah, new song today. This has been Blue by Ghostly Beard. Love the name of the band. Love the logo too. I couldn't get the logo actually fitting in nicely with the thumbnail on YouTube, but it's just like the outline of a beard, and it's pretty genius. Kay says, thanks for the stream, enjoying this tune. Have a great night. Have a great night, Katie. I'm enjoying this one quite a bit too. It's fun. It's different, and again, having access to all these different multi-track sessions on, again, Cambridge Music Technology. They have multi-tracks up there for educational purposes, so that's what we're here for. But yeah, it's just fantastic being able to pick away at some of these. And again, hear the tracking, because the tracking on this I think is awesome. And I joke with some of the students, is like every once in a while you hear something, it makes you feel like you're not good at what you do. And when I hear the tracking on this, the recording is, I think, fantastic. And the production on it, like the production value in the engineering, I think is fantastic. So whoever did it, great job. All right, I think that's it for tonight. It's been Let's Mix Live, where I live stream some Pro Tools mix sessions, start to finish, best I can. Lots of different ways to make your stuff sound good. My name is Mike Langford again, producer, engineer, or sorry, I thought I was until I listened to this, and mixer based out of Toronto, Canada. I'll be back here on Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I try to do Mondays at 7 p.m. and Thursdays at 12 p.m. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it does not. If you like the song, let me know. Comments below on YouTube. If you want to help support the channel, remember to like and subscribe. Especially if you're in a band, you might learn something on here. If not, just throw your comments below. I'm curious to hear what you're thinking. Have a good rest of your evening, everybody. I didn't mention it today, but R.I.P. Taylor Hawkins. It's still sinking in. It's still sinking in for me. So have a great rest of your night, everybody. Be safe. Talk to you later.